Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Three-Man Weave, live here from Assembly Hall. Saturday night, 94-65, the Hoosiers defeat Savannah State to move to 4-0 in the season in one of probably the longer college basketball games. We'll see a lot of whistles tonight. Let's see here, 53 fouls and 71 free throws. It was unbelievable. It seemed like a whistle was being blown on every trip down the floor, really for both teams. But it was IU's ability not only to get those whistles, but then convert them at the free throw line. Connor, you wrote about it in your game wrap about getting to the line and not only getting there, but also making the free throws.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. It's a very basic part of basketball, and it's kind of overlooked situations like this where it really comes to fruition, where, one of the first half, IU's offense was not anything worth noting, and they needed to rely on making free throws, because if you're not making those free throws, then you know what? You're losing to a Savannah State team that has no business being on the same floor here, with a team like Indiana. So, to convert on some of those foul attempts early, they were 18 of 19 going into halftime from the foul line. It was huge. Savannah State made it difficult for them in the inside early. It was very physical, too physical, obviously, but they were still able to convert on those opportunities, and that's something that you need to do to win games like this, because not every game you win is going to be pretty.
I think, and pretty is exactly the way I would really not describe this game. It's probably that just didn't have the crispness that they had on Wednesday night. Avi, when you look at these first four games, I guess the nitpick a little bit, it had to be the sloppiness on offense.
Yeah, this game was about as attractive as Snooki on her 21st birthday, if I could kind of pinpoint what that would be like. I've been working on that one for a while. It was not a fun game to watch. It was not a fun game to sit through. There was no, as kind of said, there was no fluidness to the offense. What we saw against Evansville was not on the court tonight. You look at the final score and you say, oh man, 29 points, what a blowout. They must have played great. It wasn't the case. It really wasn't. Too much. It was stagnant. They couldn't develop really a decent tempo. They couldn't put together a lot of good offensive stretches. Indiana was forcing up shots that I feel like they really, against a better opponent, that just doesn't cut it. And what carried them to the final score that you see before you, a lot of it was Cody Zeller. And Kevin, you'll talk about this in a little later, but, a lot of it was just as Connor said, being consistent with your free throw shooting. When you get to the line that often, ask John Calipari and a certain Memphis team, you need to make them.
Yeah.
And they certainly did that tonight, and that was a big source of their offense.
Savannah State was picked to finish 13th out of 16 in the MEAC, so it's definitely probably one of the weaker teams IU will be playing all year. But no, like Avi mentioned, it was Cody Zeller, and tonight it was him scoring. We've seen him kind of affect the game in other ways, whether it's drawing double teams, which is something Savannah State was single guarding him. And I think Cody was kind of shocked early on, but then once he realized that was going to happen, he went to work. 6-7 from the field. I believe 11 of 13 from the free throw line, 23 points for him, and that's
career high for what it's worth.
Right? Yeah, I think he'd been averaging 12 maybe on the season coming into this game, so he almost doubled his average. I just thought he was a little more aggressive attacking the rim. We saw another flagrant foul on him. He doesn't seem to be affected by any of that.
The horse collar doesn't work in basketball.
It was kind of a dirty play. He was 6-7 from the floor. Christian Wofford was 6-7 from the floor. We saw Derek Elston. Tom Pritchard, I believe, played a season high, 15 minutes off the bench.
Good for him.
Little tip dunk for the Pritch guys. To me, it was just IU. Front court depth maybe is a problem, but those four big guys I thought did a great job tonight, kind of imploring their will down low against a much just softer and smaller Savannah State team.
Yeah, they said that it was going to be a huge point of emphasis was going to be to get the ball inside. Because with a team like this, when their biggest player is 6'8", they only had, I believe,
they were skinny big guys.
And they were skinny big guys. They weren't guys that weren't necessarily able to bang in the post. That's probably what led to a lot of them having to foul, because Watford was getting too good of shots. Cody was getting too good of shots. Sheehy was even getting in there and forcing them to foul. So it's a situation where, on paper, you look at that going in and you say, we'd be fools to sit on the three-point line and jack up threes all day. IU only made 3 threes tonight.
And let's face it, Savannah State sneezed on IU the wrong way. They were going to call a foul.
Right, exactly. So, you know what? You play to the officials, you play to the matchups, and that's exactly what IU did tonight.
Will Sheehy, career high, 15 points off the bench. He had 9 free throws. Tom Crean did mention Victor Oladipo's feeling a little bit under the weather. He had a tough matchup, I thought, tonight. Preston Blackman, I believe his name, was a
good
point guard for Savannah State. A quicker guard that I don't think really Victor's had a guard here in these first 4 games. Smaller guy, very quick, did a great job getting the hole, and was really the only constant offense. Like, constant's probably not even the right word. Really the only offense, that pretty much worked all night for the Tigers. But Victor on offense didn't really have it tonight. Him and Jordan Holes were scoreless through the first 14 minutes of the game. I believe each of them had 6 points on the night.
Yeah.
Guys, heading into Monday, the last game before Thanksgiving break, Gardner Webb comes to Assembly Hall. Are we going to learn anything, or is it still let's wait till November 27th in Butler and November 30th NC State?
I have a little bit of an odd feeling that IU is going to come out flat on Monday. I have a feeling that they're going to be a little bit exhausted considering the stretch that they're going through right now. And you look at the schedule, and maybe this is just us, and I'm not obviously a player, but if you look at the schedule and you see Gardner Webb at home before a 6-day break, you got Butler coming up after that. That's the classic game that'll sneak up on you. That's an instance
on Gardner Webb, as
exactly. That's exactly what I would say. So from that standpoint, on paper, it looks like a potential sleeper game for IU, but who knows? We'll see whether or not, if they get another 30-point win. I'm not going to make any sort of final ramifications or final predictions based on that, but it'll be interesting to see the way the Hoosiers respond to this quick turnaround again.
It's going to be so hard for me to draw an assessment out of, not only tonight's game, but the game against Gardner Webb, unless something really brash happens, and it comes down to 10 points with however much time is left. The first 3 games, I'm not going to lie, I was really gung-ho in this team. Like a lot of other people, I feel like the expectation went from NIT to maybe NCAA tournament, where now people are saying, oh, this is a tournament team, no doubt. And tonight, for me personally, it took a step back from that. But like you guys said, there's this ridiculous point margin. The officiating was just, it was just horrendous. I mean, they didn't let them play for a possession at a time. And for me, it's just really hard to take anything away from this game except another W on the record sheet.
Should mention, I feel like Gardner Webb pulled off some upsets a couple years ago in the NIT, preseason NIT, I want to say. They had a couple Indiana kids, Grayson Flitner, Nate Blank, a couple years back. They also got another Indiana kid on their team right now, Max Landis, who's their second leading scorer. They're 2-2 on the season. I know they had a 20-point loss to Clemson, and then they played some other games. So that will be the last game of the Hoosier Invite until Butler, which is a week from Sunday, will come to Assembly Hall. So for Avi Zayla, Connor O'Gara, Kevin Bowen, once again, IU wins 94-65. They moved 4-0 on the year. And guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but some stat like 4-0.
Yeah, it's 4-0 with over a winning margin larger than 20 points for the first time since 1938-39.
Yeah, so pretty impressive. Yes, they aren't playing any BCS schools yet, but pretty impressive start for the Hoosiers. So we'll see you guys.